Hey folks, welcome back. Well, we're going to replace the AC compressor on this 1979 Lincoln Continental. Um, I daily drive this car pretty much every day in summer, and it gets really hot um, in my area and stuff like that. And so I'm also going to talk about a little bit about how this AC system has been, I guess you could say, upgraded or modified or something like that. As far as the POA valve goes, which really isn't a POA valve anymore. We'll get into that later. The AC compressor that we're going to be using is a brand new one, more modern style, made to fit in this particular application, just exactly how this one sits, but it's going to look a lot different than this. This is an older, same company that made them all for GM and stuff, even though it's got the Motorcraft sticker on it. It's really not a Motorcraft made compressor. This is, I believe, the original one, because it's made to run off of R12, but it has been running 134A pretty much all last summer, maybe towards August or so. It started to not quite work so well, and it was leaking out of the base of this deal right about in here. I usually manage to tighten these bolts up and kind of like keep the leak at bay, charged it up just a little bit and got me through the rest of the summer. But it's all leaked out now. And anyways, so we're going to replace this deal. But like I said, we're going to put a little bit more modern AC compressor on here, and I'll explain why, because this system works a little bit different than the way it originally did, and we'll get into that. So let's have a look first at the compressor that we're using. Okay, this is it here from got this from O'Reilly's, and I believe it was 350, 370, somewhere around there. But it's brand new. It's not a remanufactured ones. You can still get ones that look just like this that are kind of remanufactured, and they're kind of more, I think they're kind of updated or do something different to make them where they can also run off a 134A. I'm not really actually sure about all of that, but let me get this opened up and we'll have a look-see at this carburetor, geez, I was just working on the carburetor a second ago. We made another video about this thing. Was it because it was hesitating, like when you go to step on the pedal from a complete stop, like and take off again. So we fixed that. Check that video out. Anyways, get this AC compressor out of the box and have a look-see at it. And there's the beast right there. So it's telling you come pre-charged with 3 ounces of oil. So for just changing the compressor and the expansion valve on this car, that's going to be just fine. This is what I don't know what the A6 or H6 models are, but I mean, it tells you right here that it needs a PAG 46. This should be able to fit our plug, which is going to be, we're going to have to change this to be able to accommodate that. Not a huge deal. And then I'll explain what these wires and all that stuff as we go. Now, one thing that I am sort of disappointed on this is the fact that this whole thing is obviously going to spin, and you're not really going to be able to see the clutch actuate, which I really like to do, because it's all one piece. I've seen some like that, especially on tractors, but it just is what it is. We've got it. We're going to give it a try and go from there. As far as getting this thing in here, it's not too bad. The first thing you do is take a 9/16 and you're going to loosen that. And then you're going to loosen the nut here on the back side of this. That's going to allow this pulley to come up, and that'll get your belt off of there. And then you've got a bolt here to take out, and one right down in there. Hard to see, but it's there. And this one here to take off. And then I'm probably going to go ahead and remove this air cleaner just to get a little bit better access. And there's two ways you can do it. You can either undo, I would probably just do the one right there, because that's going to take the whole bracket off, and then we'll put the bracket on the new one, and then you got your bolt for your lines and stuff there. So, which, you know, this is supposed to all match up to work on here. So that's pretty much how you do that. So anyways, let's talk about this AC system and what it does different than what it used to do. So last summer, about this time, I purchased this, and you have to check this video out to figure out where and how I got this set up here, because right in this area is what they call it. This piece right here would have been a POA valve, and it would have had a line just like this going into it. It wouldn't have the charge port on here, I don't think. But anyways, this essentially eliminates that POA valve. Now, the way the POA valves, kind of what they do, as an example, with an air conditioning system, with anything, or I guess with these cars here, you know, once you turn the compressor on, you know, the clutch just stays engaged the whole time. Now, if maybe it's not quite as hot outside, or you have the air conditioner turned down a little bit low, you know, your evaporator can start freezing up. And so that's what the POA valve's job was to do, was to bypass some of the Freon back through, and it would just, but the clutch wouldn't cycle. Modern air conditioning systems use a pressure switch like this one here, and that's what this system is now doing. So if it gets to that point where, you know, this needs to cycle the compressor to eliminate, you know, anything freezing up, this switch will open, turns power off the compressor. Hence, that's how this is wired in here. And we're also gonna get a new loom and redo all this wiring. It's kind of ridiculous the way I did this, but I told myself I was gonna fix it before now, but it's gonna get fixed now anyways. And so that makes this thing cycle to do that, and eliminates that POA valve. The expansion valve, still doing the same job it always does. And anyways, that's what, you know, that's what we got. That's what this system does now. And this system worked last year off of 134A. You have to go through the other video. I might even have to too, but to figure out exactly, remember how much Freon, because you put a little bit different amount of Freon in it, a little bit less, I think, than you would if it was R12. But this air conditioning system worked phenomenal. Like, it gets really hot. We get 95, 100, 105 sometimes, and just really, really hot. And this air conditioning system worked great. Actually, this is, with as much air as it blows, this is one of the best vehicles I have, or even really driven, that had air conditioning. So I know the R12 system would actually probably even work better, but R12 is expensive, and you really gotta go through the entire system if you're going to use it, because you do not want any leaks on something like that, because it's expensive if you can find it, which you can. But so anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get this compressor off of here, and we'll straighten out this wiring and get going on this to get this other newer style compressor on here. When I get this on here, I might actually, even when get it all working and stuff, I might actually just paint it black a little bit, just so kind of, you know, I like to keep this car mostly as original as I can, but you know, functionality is important a little bit too. And so I think this compressor with this clutch, different style than this clutch, because this really wasn't made to cycle back and forth. That's just not how it was designed. I could be wrong. If it was in something else, maybe it could have done that. I don't know. It worked fine. It didn't have any issues, but other than the fact that it just started leaking out of behind the base of it there. So, you know, this compressor just needs to be rebuilt and whatnot. But I just want to give this one a try to see if maybe that clutch and, you know, maybe the fact that it could be easier to turn, it's just more modern of a compressor that's just made to fit in the same area and same mounts and all that stuff. That's what I was hoping for. So anyways, let's we'll get this on here and keep on going. Okay, I'm not filming everything, but I thought I'd bring you along here with getting this thing out of here. So obviously I've got that big bolt out of there, 5/8 head, and we got the 3 out of here, 1/2 inch head. It does have this deal plugged in the back of here, and I don't know what that does, and I don't see that on the back of this one. I even kind of peeled this just a little bit just to, this is some kind of a pressure valve or something. If it went, I think, too high a pressure, that would eject some of the, you know, so you don't ruin anything or blow hoses. Yeah, I don't know what that's for. It doesn't have anything to do with the clutch or anything like that, so I don't hope not, but I really don't know what this does. We'll talk a little bit more about the wiring later and how it does, but anyhow, with 2 hands, this is kind of heavy, but you can see how it's loose. It's ready to just pull out of here. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take these bolts out of here, put this bracket right on the back here. We'll probably leave these a little bit loose just to make sure everything can kind of line up, because it's easier, you know, you can still tighten these back there, or you could just take them off of there and leave this bolt in there or whatever if you wanted to. Like I said, we don't know what we're going to do with this yet, but so anyways, yeah, let's get this in here. All right, it is in there. Anyways, I would say that the procedure that seemed like it's the best is, you know, that bolt right there, that bigger one, you know, that's kind of slotted. So what I would do is get everything started. You know, we had these loose here, and then got that bolt started. These were just started, and go ahead and get these all snugged up first to get this thing up against the base here, because that's the most important thing about your belt alignment and everything. Then there was a gap here, so I went ahead and tightened these up first before and then this one last, and that got this thing perfectly in here. I did say that this was wrong. I said this was the way this actually drops down. It goes up to tighten, and you can kind of get a 1/2 inch drive, either a ratchet or something like that, or you know, some kind of a, like I've got a tool that I could use for you know, fan clutches or whatnot, fit in there and get that off of there. But you know, but that'll kind of, you can kind of snug that up with snug the belt up by using that. I didn't mention that before, I don't think. So anyways, this is just the pulley turning itself. It'd be nice to be able to, like I said, see the clutch, but it's just not the way it is. And I'm probably going to back probe a maybe a small test light or something into here. Now this is designed to, this can just go right straight in there, and I think this is pretty beat up. I'm not sure. I might just hardwire this. I don't know. Or with some spade terminals or something like that. I don't know. This needs to be replaced. I think it's just old, and it does work, but anyways, so you got the 3 wires come in here, 2 of them put together. I'll explain how all this works. You got one of them here that's a ground. I believe this green wire, but I'm not 100% sure. One of them is powered, you know, like I said, this is one of them. One is the ground. One of these 3 wires gets positive power when you turn your AC on or defrost or whatever. And then the other wire goes right over here to this stepper motor. Now this will usually be closer. Right now this, I bumped this, and then it set the choke, and so that's why is the way it is. But the stepper motor will kind of move out and kind of bump your idle up just a little bit when this is engaged. And that's what that does. Now the way the wiring is different now is instead of what we've got here, the way it's connected in here, and I think I did a wiring schematic, or maybe, you know, I might draw that. I might draw it out again or something like that, explain this better. But essentially we've got the wire coming in here, this green, we'll just say it's the green wire, and what it is instead of it going right straight to this plug, it is now going through the green wire all the way to that pressure switch, which is just an on-off switch, and then back to the yellow wire, back to into this plug. So anytime that pressure switch has the recommended or right pressure, it closes and allows power to the compressor. Hence the reason when that pressure switch drops out, it cycles this clutch. And that's pretty much how this system works now. You see I haven't got my lines on here yet. I still got this. I'm gonna take this off of here, and we'll use this bolt through here. It should have all new O-rings and all that stuff on it, and go from there. This is a little bit extra room, but it's actually going to help me in my benefit. I think that's how this ended up in the first place, is I didn't make this wire long enough, but it will be now. But the nice thing of also doing this is, you know, this moves quite a bit, so you've got a lot of slack to get it out of the way, get this thing all mounted and everything before you put this on here. Clean this up real good, wipe it down. Don't need to do anything with the surfaces, as far as don't do anything with like something very abrasive or anything like that. Just get it real cleaned up, that's all. And then we'll get this connected, get this thing under a vacuum, and get it charged up. So we'll keep on going. Okay, well, another snag. The bolt that popped our cover off right here is not long enough to be able to be used, and it is different threads than the original. This is a metric bolt. Not really happy with that, because if this is made to, you know, fit this car, this should have the same threads. I did actually think that even these threads, you can see part of them, you know, these screwed in, they tightened up real good, but I bet you these are metric threads too. So they screwed in, they tightened, so they should be fine, but I'm not happy about it. I didn't mention that before, but you know, they were a little bit hard going in until the bolt got partway through there, which is it's kind of designing its own threads with using these original bolts. So anyways, I'm gonna have to get another bolt here that's gonna be longer, 3/8. I don't know. I mean, this is I believe this is an 8mm. No, it's a 10mm bolt. I don't know. I will look that up, find out what thread pitch that is. But anyways, I just matched it with this bolt there. Yeah, kind of disappointed with that. So it's going to remain to be seen if this is all going to work really well. But as of right now, might explore your options a little bit further than this. If you don't like what I'm running into, I think it's more of an annoyance than anything. It's not any game changers and all that, whatever, but it just is what it is. So keep on going. Well, we got it all on there. Bolt there, you know, and this is aluminum, so don't go crazy with it. I'm just going to go ahead and I clean this up a little bit, and I'm going to just go ahead and plug that in there, and then I'm going to get wire loom and clean up all this wiring here. We got it under a vacuum right now, so right there. So we'll let that do that for, I don't know, about 30 minutes. That gets the moisture and all that stuff kind of pulled out of here and helps the Freon go in and all that. So yeah, and then we'll, I mean, obviously we'll, after we do the vacuum, we shut it off, let it sit for a while, make sure the vacuum stays so we don't have any leaks before we even start charging it. And we'll keep on going. Okay, so I figured out that wire that was plugged into here, needs to be grounded. So what I did is I just put a butt connector here and looped it and round it right here. So now what you'll see in the next shot when we got the engine running is this test light back probed in here every time the compressor cycles on. So like I said, we can't see the clutch, but you can hear it and everything. You see the gauges and stuff change, but I just did that just for clarity. But we'll fire this up, keep going. Oh, it is ice cold. The AC on right there, and man, oh man, it's cold. Should get a temperature gun to see how cold it actually is. According to that thing right now, it's been in there for a few minutes. It's about 40 degrees. That ain't bad. Not bad at all. Alrighty, folks. We are all finished up here. My wires cleaned up a little bit better than I had them before. I'm a little happier with the way that turned out. We'll talk about here just a second. I would rate this probably a 6 out of 10 as far as installation, and just because it fits in there good. It shouldn't have metric threads for anything. I think like I said, I think these were metric the way the bolt went in there. They tightened up good, and even this side loosened and tightened up again. Put this ground terminal on there. Did pretty, that's fine. The bolt wasn't very long in the back there. Maybe it couldn't be for that type of but if they're gonna if they're gonna make it and send it that way, maybe this thing should have had something up here, to take the extra slack of having a bolt long enough to make it fit in there. And that bolt I don't think should be metric threads either. It should be the same as the old one. Anyways, it is what it is. The fact that it doesn't have a visible clutch is, I don't know, it's something I like to see, but doesn't matter. Hooked my test light up to it, found out, same thing I would found out if it was, one you can see. Probably an 8 or 9 out of 10 though, as far as performance. It does not seem, when it does cycle and click in, it does not seem like the old one. You'd actually see the engine shake a little bit. Whether that's just because it was, usually they get more worn out, they're easier to turn, but you would noticeably see the engine, just kind of like move and stuff. This thing, not really. And so in the performance wise, we got about 38 degrees by the time at about 1500 RPM. I think I held it for like 5 minutes or whatever, 1500 RPM. We got about 38 degrees coming out of there. Ended up putting about 44 ounces in this thing. I don't know, but it seems to work really well. So you're kind of really not going to know. This compressor is going to be different than the other one that was on there before. Yeah, that's what we ended up putting in here, 42 to 44. And it's working really, really well. Like I said, I think it's easier to turn, and this compressor is, hopefully it's designed more to better to be, for cycling and stuff when it needs to. I mean, when it's really, really hot and you're cruising down the highway, an AC system's usually not going to have to cycle because everything's, all the physics involved and whatnot is not, I guess, not physics, chemistry or whatever. I don't know. It's late. But yeah, that's, usually they don't have to cycle when in that, at least mine didn't before, last summer when I drove it. So it didn't cycle that much, cruising down the highway at 70 miles an hour. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll put a link in for my other videos about, it's got more information on that, POA valve removal, that we replaced that, because that's not a POA valve. That is just in place of it to provide us with that pressure cycling switch, which is how all modern AC systems and cars work now. I've not seen anything with that POA valve pretty much since like these things. Very rare that they use them, but that's just is what it is. So like I said, I think I'll do an update video for sure in probably about another month's time. So it'll be about the middle of June, maybe. We'll get some warmer weather and we'll try this and just see how it goes and see how it cools and everything like that. Because I mean, right now I think it got up to 75 today, and it's just getting dark now. So, it's got to be like 60-ish in here now, 65. So, but there will be an update. Find out if I adjust the levels of, the Freon that's in it, whether I add some or remove some, I don't know. I think it's going to work just fine the way it is. I really do. So, because I was able to get this thing up to at least 2,500 RPM for a good steady couple 2 or 3 minutes, and I mean, it never even wanted to cycle then. Faster RPM, like they will cycle just because they're pumping a lot, and especially when they're just sitting here, like I said, at faster RPMs, when you're got a lot of air rushing across the condenser and all that stuff, and if it's really hot outside, and like I said, they even at higher RPMs they won't cycle that much or hardly at all. It's just when they're colder, especially like when you are using the defroster in winter, they're going to cycle quite a bit, because obviously you're not using the AC you're using it to get the humidity out, is really what that's designed for. So anyways, hopefully this helps you out and everything, and thanks for watching.